Hello, Daha here from Timeslip Softworks. Welcome to the 40-second development video for Vigilantes. This video covers the additions and improvements made in the second half of the version 21 update, which is now available from Steam and Humble. First thing I'd like to cover is the addition of a new feature which allows gang leaders to set up ambushes for your party. Now if you're ambushed by a gang leader, there are two options. You can either try and fight them, in which case you probably want to have a pretty high level party. You're not going to be able to. They'll initially start hunting you down at about level 7, and you're probably not going to want to fight them at that level because I think they're just going to be too difficult. The other option is you can flee, so you can press this button. It'll show you where the flee zone is, so you try and get your group to there without being killed. And every time you encounter a gang leader, every time they ambush you, you will gain one piece of intel on them. So even though if you do decide to run away, it's not a complete loss, as you know, gaining the intel will allow you to actually locate them in their home base, and you can effectively, you're postponing the fight, I suppose. Another thing to consider is if you actually take out the gang leader and don't have high enough skill to interrogate them, you won't actually gain any boss intel, so it won't actually help you with your overall game progress. I'm not actually going to fight this one out because I think in this case the best option would be to run, because I'm playing on a harder difficulty level. But I just want to show you a couple of other things. I've added interactive environment objects in this update. So as you can see there, that's a gas canister, and if you shoot it, you can either shoot it, you can hit it, or you can set it off with an explosive and it will explode. Either if it's a gas canister, it'll do damage. If it's a fuel barrel, it will set the adjacent tiles on fire, and it may help, you know, block off an area and do damage. Another thing I'm just going to cover is, if I get the chance, because I don't think I'm going to survive very long in this encounter, but I've also added a surrounded mechanic to the game. So if you get several characters around one enemy character, it will increase the chance to hit them. I guess the rationale is that, you know, if you've a number of threats around you, you're possibly paying less attention to the active threat or the active character. So I'll just go and give you a quick look at how this works with this character. So we could say with one character adjacent, it doesn't do anything. But now if I go and move a second character adjacent, you'll see that there's an effect here, that status effect up there. Now I realize this is something I'm going to have to look at. I need to provide information on what these status effects are. But effectively, I think that's given him that will give you a 4% chance, an extra 4% chance to hit him. And if you move another character around, I think it increases to 8. So this may work against you if you're fighting the Church of the Final Exodus. And it may be good for you if you're fighting a smaller faction and can position your troops well. But that's another addition. Night missions also impose a 5% penalty to range chance to hit, and cover is also more effective at night now. So this is, I guess it's a way to add a little more depth to the game. For example, you could use this in the case that, you know, survivalists, which will primarily use guns, you could try and attack them more at night and attack the Church of the Final Exodus, who primarily use melee weapons during the day. Also, when you're fighting indoors, assault and precision rifles suffer a 5% penalty due to being chance to hit penalty due to being in an enclosed space. So that's another new thing. The rationale behind this is that typically these weapons do a lot more damage, and I'd like to kind of create a situation where, you know, handguns are useful, or are more useful in certain cases, whereas in open levels the larger weapons may be more useful. Moving on to content, I think I'll just return to the last save game here. I've added a new crafting component, which is explosive materials, and this will allow you to upgrade your IEDs and your incendiary grenades. Now also there's a Mark II incendiary grenade, which it's the number of the star count here. This indicates the kind of quality of the level, and this is also the case now with trauma kits. So you can basically upgrade the level 1 incendiary grenade to the level 3, and I'll just buy these to see if I can just if I have enough of everything to show you this. So I don't have enough of these. I have enough of these. So this will take 3. It will create 3 Mark II IEDs for the cost of 3 Mark 1s plus explosive material. So I can craft those, and that's the Mark 1. They do 12 damage, and the Mark II do 18 damage. So that's, I guess, a couple of extra items which have been added to the game. There've been 2 new dialogue encounters. One of them is a non-combat dialogue encounter called From the Precipice. I won't tell you any more about it. You can check it out yourself. And there's also a new combat encounter called Intimidation. And moving on to balance, gang characters get a starting level bonus from hard-boiled and greater difficulty levels. So they'll start 1 level higher, I think, in hard-boiled, and 2 levels higher on the even harder difficulty level. They will also get scaling bonus to income at higher difficulty levels, so they can, purchase more. They'll be able to purchase upgrades more quickly. When using an assault or a precision rifle, there is now an increased penalty if you have an adjacent enemy. Basically, some feedback suggested that the current penalty wasn't high enough, so this has been increased. The friendly fire perk now prevents allies from being hit by the shotgun's cone of fire at all, rather than just reducing the chance of them being hit. Battle Frenzy now is 30% rather than 10% chance to activate when you KO an enemy, and the shop generates more component items now, because I kind of found when I was playing through it there that it was sort of hard to get enough of these various items to make armor. So I've increased it a little, and I'll tweak it more as time goes on. Outside that, it's mostly been fixes. I've probably fixed about another half a dozen issues in this update. And that's more or less it. So you can check out version 21 now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll keep you posted on version 22. Bye bye.